You're watching Mirror 7 News. Stay informed, stay ahead for more news.
The recent developments in U.S.-China relations have shed light on the contradictions and self-defeating nature of America's current approach to Beijing. After the landmark meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in October, it became clear that there would be no major breakthroughs in resolving the long-standing issues that have fueled tensions between the two nations. Rather, the meeting showcased the confusion and inconsistency that marks U.S. policy under the Trump administration's second term. For much of the 21st century, U.S. policy toward China was based on the belief that China's integration into the global trading system would eventually lead to its political and economic liberalization. This hope, however, has not materialized. Instead of becoming a partner, China has emerged as a disruptive competitor, using its economic power to shape global systems in its favor. By the time the U.S. attempted to counter China's rise, Beijing had already grown too strong, edging out American industries in critical sectors. Under the first Trump administration and the Biden administration, a more coherent strategy to confront China's growing economic power was developed. It focused on decoupling the U.S. and Chinese economies, imposing targeted tariffs, and encouraging domestic investments in key industries like semiconductors and clean energy. However, in his second term, Trump has taken a step backward, reversing much of this progress with a more transactional and contradictory approach. The core of this shift lies in the administration's tariff policy. Trump is now imposing sweeping tariffs on all trade partners, not just China, to raise revenue for his budget. This strategy, while designed to fill a fiscal gap, has become a tax on American manufacturers and consumers. U.S. companies like General Motors and Ford are already facing billions of dollars in additional tariff costs. Furthermore, these unilateral tariffs have alienated U.S. allies, undermining the very international cooperation needed to maintain America's competitive edge. Another major flaw in the current strategy is the undermining of American innovation. The Trump administration has slashed funding for critical research and innovation, even as China continues to invest heavily in advanced technologies. The reduction in incentives for clean energy and electric vehicle production, for example, is putting U.S. companies at a disadvantage compared to China's rapidly advancing EV industry. At the same time, the administration has walked back key policies that were designed to strengthen America's position in the global tech race, such as semiconductor export controls. While the first Trump administration initiated these controls in response to China's technological ambitions, the second term seems willing to make concessions to Beijing, diluting the effectiveness of these measures. The economic impact of these policy shifts is compounded by a growing erosion of trust in the U.S. financial system. The administration's fiscal policies, including a $4 trillion expansion of federal debt, have weakened investor confidence in U.S. creditworthiness. This comes at a time when China is actively working to challenge the dollar's dominance in global markets, seeking to internationalize its own currency, the renminbi. In sum, America's current strategy toward China is hurting its own industries, alienating its allies, and failing to address the larger strategic challenges posed by China's rise. A more effective approach would focus on reinforcing the U.S. strengths, supporting innovation, building stronger alliances, and maintaining the dominance of the dollar, rather than adopting short-term, revenue-driven tactics that ultimately undermine American power on the global stage. If the U.S. wants to remain a global leader, it must recalibrate its approach, focusing on sustainable economic growth, technological innovation, and international cooperation, while maintaining a firm stance on key strategic areas. Stay subscribed for more videos.